Hi there, it's Catherine from Sunnyside Journals. I'm here today with just a quick little part 6 as we work ahead on Infelice that I've been working on. I was away for the weekend, so I put my signatures into my book press. I have a book press that I followed Sea Lemon's instructions. I'll post the link down below. It's cheap, it's easy to make. Anyone can do it. If I can do it, anyone can make this book press. And look how nice and compact these signatures are. Isn't that beautiful? And so when I place them back into the book, I see here that I've still got plenty of playroom as far as bulk. There's lots and lots of room for me to be adding cards, for me to, I think I'm going to be able to fold all these ends in, which is what I was hoping to do. That's fun to be able to have flip outs. So so I'm happy with that. I have already taken the liberty of putting them into signatures of 5 leaves each. Busy papers and plain papers. And then a little thing that I do that I learned from, I watched so many videos before I started doing this myself, and that's the best way to just get started, is to just keep watching videos. You'll start finding the artists whose techniques you like, or else their teaching method appeals to you. Some people learn better from one teacher, some people learn better from another kind of teacher. I'm a very, very visual learner, so the better I can see of what someone's doing, I do better. And I learned along the way to use these tiny little post-it notes to put onto I number my signatures so I know what order I'm going in. And as I told you earlier, I always love putting a file folder as in my center signature because I do uneven numbers. And another thing that I do is I always put an arrow pointing to the top of the signature, and that comes in handy later, because when it comes time to sew these in, you really will cry the first time you sew in a signature upside down. You will, and we all do it. And you can take it out and you can sew it again. But I've just found, for me, putting an arrow and pointing it towards the top reminds me, and this will stay right on until everything's sewn in. And speaking of sewn in, I've gone ahead and cut my my end papers. I'm very careful with my end papers. I've inked them because Infelice is 100 years old. This book is going to have inking in it. She deserves every bit of beautiful aging that she can get. I am very careful, especially with really old books. Sorry if that was too loud. I was leaning to get my ruler. Of measuring this end paper when I'm going to cut end papers, because the front and the back are not always equal. They can be different sizes. They can be on a slightly different angle, and they're not necessarily centered here, and they're not necessarily the same width or length. I've learned that the hard way as well. So I measure my front one and cut, and then I measure my back one and cut, and then I do a similar thing as I do with these little post-its on the back. Now this is patterned. I hope you can kind of see here. It says back, and then I've written an arrow pointing to the top, because as I said, they're not always symmetrical, and sometimes this measurement maybe is not as wide as this measurement. So I will write back and an arrow pointing towards the top of it, and then if you can see here, I've penciled in very faintly front, and then there is an arrow right here pointing to the top, so that when it comes time to glue it in, I know that not only is this the one that I have measured and cut specifically for the front, but that's the top. It's just something I do. And then I took the time to get ready my my center fabric that's going to be going in there. I've got that ready to go. Soon I will be sewing these in, and I will be providing a link for Nick the Booksmith's hollowback binding course. It's very quick. It's very inexpensive. I believe it's $15 US. You just pay for it online and it immediately opens up the link for you, and you can watch it as many times as you like. You can pause it while you work. She's the best teacher of that, and she's the one that needs to teach you how to do that. Pardon me. So now the next thing I will do is I will start gathering some things that I think I'm going to be either stuffing in or also putting right into the signature. For example, I have a vintage card here. Although it's a get well card, it's so pretty. I'm going to cover this part up with something pretty. Probably some flowers, some fussy cut flowers. I'm not sure yet what it's going to be that's going to go in there, but that's just so pretty, and I think the colors go nicely with this book. So this will be going probably in the center signature. So I'm going to put that in right now because I want to start seeing again how bulky this is going to get before I start going to all the work of sewing. And I really do think we're going to be just fine. And this doesn't even have to be in the order you're going to do them yet. You just want to feel for the bulk. I know I want to put in a pretty envelope that I'm going to put near the edge so it can be a flip out. So I'm simply, for the time being, just going to place it in the center so that, again, I can start feeling how bulky this is going to get. I'm going to put a business envelope, a window, in. So I'm just, again, going to just put this, for the time being, in the center so that I can feel whether it's bulky or not and decide if it's going to go in or not. And then I've handmade an envelope from a page out of a bird book. I've already got it ready. I like to do this. It's a fun thing to do. Hold on. There we go. It's a fun thing to do because when you put it in the center of your signature, but you don't glue it shut yet, leave it loose like this. And then, I didn't think of this. Someone else thought of this, but I love doing it because it's just so, it's so clever, whoever thought of it. When you sew in your signatures, you can then, you'll then fold in your papers later, glue them shut, and that's how you get a little envelope right in the center of your signature that also flops back and forth, and it hides the sewing. It's just really, really sweet to do. So I'm going to be putting one of those in. I'm not sure which signature is going to get the bird envelope. And then I'm also going to be adding, I want to add, here's a little tea-stained envelope. I know I want to add that. I'm going to add a music card. I'm going to add a little place setting card. I'll be adding a couple of index cards, and I know I want at least one Rolodex card, but maybe two. So I'm going to just hold all these together, and again, I'm going to do a practice run to see how bulky this is, because I'm still going to want to put things in. There's still going to be things that are glued right to the pages, so I have to make sure. And you can see right here, that spine has plenty of room to come out a bit more, and that to come out a bit more. So for now, and that's going to be able to accommodate lace, we're good. We're good to go ahead. So I'm pretty well ready, actually, to start my sewing part of this. I am going to be putting lace on the ends of the pages. I glue my lace. I've had too many times where I have a very old sewing machine. I actually have my mother's old sewing machine. She's almost 93, and I have her sewing machine. And sometimes, unpredictably, it can be brutal to my paper. And these papers are so pretty, and I really want this book to be pretty. So I will be gluing my lace onto the ends of the papers, and that means I can do it later. But if you're going to sew on any laces to the edges of your papers, I suggest you do it ahead of time before you put your signatures onto however you're going to sew them into your book, whether it's a hidden spine with a hollow back or whether it's a little golden book. If you're going to sew your laces, do it ahead of time before you sew your signatures in. So that's that. I'm happy with that little tiny bit of progress today. And I'm going to, next time we get together, probably not till the end of the week, because I'm still working on getting photos and things done for when I reopen my Etsy shop on Wednesday. So I think poor little Infelice is going to get put aside, maybe till the end of the week. And hopefully I'll have her all sewn together, and we'll start the fun part of just making the insides of her beautiful. So thanks for stopping by today. And I hope the rest of you, I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. And we'll talk again soon. Take care. Bye.